Hey everybody, Bobby here. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. Last week on Friday, I did a video where I talked about the epidemic of failed launches that I've been seeing recently and seeing how people are trying to launch before they are taking the time to like build a following and do things like that. I talked about how a lot of the things that people are suggesting that entrepreneurs do actually don't work and don't benefit them. And so that's what I talked about last week. If you haven't checked out that video yet, I will put a link in the comments or actually in the actual post here, so you can go back and check out that video, because I think it's an important message that we need to focus on finding, attracting, nurturing, and serving our fans before we start trying to sell to them. Because if we try to sell to them right off the bat, it's not going to work out well for us. That's just the experience that I've had and that I've seen other people, other entrepreneurs have. And so because of that, I wanted to stress that. But when I deliver that message, a lot of people say, okay, that's great, but how do I go about doing that? Where do I find my fans before launching, et cetera? And there's a lot of ways to do it. And I wanted to go over one of them that is actually easy to do. And I wanted to show it to you with the screen share, because I know when I first heard about some of these ideas, I always had a tough time understanding what people were suggesting. And this wasn't exactly what they were suggesting. I used to see people say, go to like Reddit and go to these different boards and try to do that. And I never could understand how you were going to do it. And so I want to show you a simple way using Facebook to go and find where your fans or potential fans are. So this is going to be my first time doing this. I'm going to share my screen here and be live so that we can actually kind of look at my board and we can see, what's going on and kind of see how you would go about this process. So I'm going to share this here. So this is what your business page looks like in your business manager. So if you don't have business manager yet, if you haven't started advertising, you need to do that. You just go to business.facebook.com. You set this up. This is where you're going to do all of your ads, etc. So it's a good place to be set up. But this is from my page, but it doesn't really need to be from here. What you're going to do when you're in your business manager, wherever it is you're going to come up here, right here, and click on this button. And get this drop down. And then from there, you're going to come over to this audience insights. This is to plan. And this is where you can find some things and find what's happening. So we're going to click on that. Give Facebook a second. It's been kind of funky today. But once you do this, you have a couple of choices. You can start with everyone on Facebook or people connected to your page. So if you already have a page that has a decent following, you can do this and see the demographics associated with your page. Again, this isn't necessarily, let me see if this is actually mine. Now, this isn't mine. So here you're going to put this in, and for some reason it never wants to recognize this, my Your Online Genius page, but I'm going to go there. And there you go. And you can start to see demographics. So this is kind of interesting to see this, right? You can see, for example, that women are my demographic on my page. But this isn't the stuff that's all that interesting to me. What's interesting to me is to go in here to page likes. And this is where you start to see what people like who also like your page. So once you have a following, this is a good place to go. So up here, they have categories, and you can kind of see consulting agency, it's linked selling, marketing academy, et cetera, internet companies, Kajabi, Thrive. And so you can kind of go through this. So I can obviously go through this and say, there's a lot of interesting things here. And you can click this see all and you get even more. But you see some things that start to come up, right? So Kajabi, that's an obvious one for me. Thrive Hive was one that I was like, I don't really know what that was when I first saw it, but I learned about it. Pinterest Business, Lead Pages, Marketo. You can see some things here that obviously make sense. Then when you go further down, you can see like Entrepreneur, Russell Brunson and Sam, I think it's Ovens are people who there is kind of an overlap between the people who like me and them. And you can just kind of see, you can go down here and get a lot of interesting information. So the point of this is you can go and see, okay, where are people who like my Facebook page? Where are they hanging out other places, or what are the companies they like? Who are the people they like? And so it's a good way to do it. So products and services. I mean, this one is not surprising. Amy Porterfield. A lot of my followers I know follow Amy Porterfield. But so this top categories is interesting, but in some ways, this bottom part is even more interesting because this is showing you Facebook is basically telling you the affinity level is telling you kind of the amount of overlap. In other words, given the size of your page and the size of their page, what are the chances that people are really going to like it and kind of the relevance? And so you can see like Kajabi is the highest number. And then this Elite Blog Academy, which again, I'll be honest with you, when I first started looking at this, like I never heard of that. Now I know all about it because I know that there is a large overlap between the two. And so you can see that. And again, this is kind of telling you right here, you see the size of their audience here on Facebook versus the number of people in your audience who like it. But this just gives you a good place to look and say, these might be good places that I should look at and see if I can target them, if I can, find some information, if I can get into groups with them and just learn and do those things. Again, I'm not telling you to go poach from other people's groups. That is not cool, but it is a good idea to go into their groups and just serve and contribute and start to build a relationship with those people. So that's how you do it if you want to start with your page, right? But one of the cool things is you aren't just limited to your page. You could go in here and let's just see. One of the people that I saw was James Wedmore came up on my list. So let's just search James. I guess it's not my page. I can't do my page, but interest. Here it is. So you go into the interests and you can type James Wedmore. And here is the cool thing. Now what I'm seeing are people that are associated kind of an overlap with James Wedmore's audience. So the importance of this functionality is if you don't yet have a big following or your page, you feel like you're not sure that it has the right following, you can use this functionality to search kind of like people who say, hey, I know that one person already has my audience. So let me go and get them, and kind of get their audience and, see where else, who are some other people that people might like. And you see this, it makes sense. So, the top categories of overlap with James's audience is entrepreneur. That makes sense. And the top two people are Stu McLaren and Russell Brunson. So that would give you some insight. These are people that, if I want to target James Wedmore, if I think James Wedmore has already gotten my audience, Stu and Russell Brunson probably have them too. And again, you can do all of the same stuff that obviously I was talking about, all the same stuff I was looking at with my personal page. A weird thing when you do someone else's, their page will come up first, but you can just kind of see this is a good way to start building out a list that gives you an idea of potential places that your fans are hanging out. So I wanted to show you this page, this audience insights, because I believe it's a great tool that people need to be using more. So let me take that down so you don't have to look at that anymore. Okay, so the reason I wanted to show you this is because I believe that a core part of doing the work that we need to be doing is finding your fans and doing some listening. And so what I suggest to people, I did a podcast episode all about the Dream 100 concept, and I talked about basically finding where they're hanging out. Looking at the audience insights on Facebook is a great way for you to start filling out the people that are on your Dream 100. In other words, the 100 people, companies that have already captured your audience. And then from there, you can go get in groups with them and just start listening. And so that's my suggestion to you, is to do that work. And if you do that work, you're going to find your audience. Now, once you found your audience, there's going to be some more work to do. And obviously you're going to need kind of some steps after that. And I'm going to jump back in here on Friday to talk to you about what you do once you find them. But the first step is finding them. finding where your fans are, finding your audience, and just getting this list so you know, hey, here's where I can go to start doing some work. And so again, I'll be back on Friday to talk about that process. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments here. If you have other tools you like to use, go ahead and drop them in the comments here too, because other people might like to know about them. But I hope you'll come back on Friday and see, the video that I'm going to do then, that I'm going to kind of walk through what do you do once you've found them. So that's it for now. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you later.